the Bantu Blockchain Foundation was specially invited to participate in the Accra launch of the Pan-African Payments and Settlements System, which happened on Thursday, the 13th of January at the Kempinski Hotel, correct? So what is the Bantu Blockchain Foundation all about? Help us understand that.
Thank you very much. So the Bantu Blockchain Foundation was set up to manage the first Africa-led blockchain infrastructure for the world.
Okay.
For those who don't know what blockchain is, it's a new technology, decentralized, which allows you to store, manage data securely and in a manner that cannot be modified or tampered with. So over the years, we've heard of many solutions, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the rest. These are all protocols, all providing different services.
Okay.
And we as Africans have largely been consumers. However, we felt that this technology itself could be used to address many of the challenges we face in Africa, such as cheap payments, financial exclusion, and ultimately developing applications and services that empower our people locally. So the foundation was set up to manage, maintain, and build this blockchain network, which ultimately addresses the challenges within Africa.
Right. So last Saturday, you held one of the biggest corporate events, what you call the Bantu Blockchain XPansion here in Ghana. So what's the whole idea?
Victor?
Yeah, Victor.
So thank you very much. So one of the things that we at Bantu try to achieve is to carry, we're an ecosystem, and by that I mean we do not work alone. Africa is very, should I say, popular for being very communal. So last year, we literally touched about 3 basic geopolitical zones in Nigeria, that is Lagos, Abuja, and finally, November 26th, we touched Port Harcourt in Nigeria and Rivers State. To further make more people aware of what we're doing, we thought of saying, hey, the other major and critical part of Africa that's got a very rich history when it comes to independence, like I'm sure we all know that Ghana is one of the first countries to actually gain independence.
Yeah. We
felt due to the significance of what Bantu stands for, it was only proper to actually kick off the Bantu initiative, building the ecosystem here in Accra, Ghana. So later on, probably Ernest will speak more to the Bantu XPansion, as the word means, in reality. So we'll just say this is like us beginning this key move of doing something that has never been done in Africa before, and then Accra, Ghana happens to be the place we wish to begin this, education and this ecosystem building.
Right. I believe we should be excited about that here in Accra. But why should one use the Bantu network? Why should that be the network of choice for people out there?
Fantastic. So great question. So when you look at many of the current blockchains, or what we are now calling Web 3.0, this is the future internet. You hear words like decentralized finance, metaverse, like what Facebook rebranded to, for example, Meta.
Yeah.
However, these networks that exist, the other protocols we've talked about, they tend to be expensive, use too much energy, and they are literally out of reach. They were not designed to address the problems of Africa, primarily. So with Bantu, for example, making payments, it's almost practically zero cost. That's the first thing. Secondly, the applications we've built, like an infrastructure called Bantu Pay, on top of this, anyone can plug into it and begin to use it to manage their services. One key thing that is important about it too is that far too long, they talk about African countries being poor. However, we are the richest continent in terms of natural resources.
Yeah.
But these resources are illiquid. That is, we cannot convert them to cash to use for payments immediately. So something called tokenization can be done, where you carry these assets, be it cocoa, coffee, gari, real estate, you put on blockchain, and you can now lend against it. Before we had to do barter, so we introduced currencies to facilitate trade.
Yeah.
But today, for the first time, you can swap coffee for Bantu, Bantu for Gari, Gari for coffee, literally.
All using Bantu.
Yes. And you can do this literally for free. Anybody can come and build on that. So you build your companies and services on that network. So we believe that these networks should be free for everybody to use, but the services you can build and monetize, build your business on this. And in fact, this is where the world is going. So why Bantu? It is cheap, practically zero cost. It's highly secure. You know, it's Africa-led, so we are addressing our challenges. It's designed to really fix many of the major problems. And more important, from a regulatory perspective, we have built-in checks and balances for compliance, for KYC, for anti-money laundering, and things like that. So from day one, even banks and other financial institutions can begin to plug into this as well. Again, making it instant. And the final and most important thing, cross-border payments. Bantu is currently available in over 174 countries, used by hundreds of thousands of people, and they are being empowered by this.
Africa or Africa and beyond?
Africa and beyond. It's borderless, but we focused on Africa because we've always been left behind. In the era of the fourth industrial revolution, we cannot be the last any longer. And we have the youngest demographic in the world. We are growing exponentially technologically, so we need to provide this next generation the tools for them to have a fighting chance.
Okay, so I guess it's safe to say, by Africa, for Africa, Africa to the world.
Yes.
That's what Bantu is doing.
That's an amazing way of putting it.
Let's help us understand, walk us through the payments, or how the payments work on the Bantu system, how people can plug into the Bantu system and start using it, you know, to enjoy the full benefits of it.
Okay, so payments is one aspect. We see Bantu more for value transfer. Okay, because payments is just you send money, receive money. But if I wanted to send this cup or send coffee or cocoa, you're now transferring value or transferring assets. So we've gone beyond just traditional payments.
Right.
So how does it work? At the very base, we have something called the XBN, which is what is called a utility token. People know about the other cryptocurrencies per se. They are purely crypto for speculation. Bantu is more around what is called utility. The way you would have your airtime for MTN. MTN is a network. Then you have airtime. As the CEO of Sterling Bank said, Bantu is like the refinery. The token is essentially like the oil that powers it, that drives the vehicles. So for every transaction, you have operations. It could be two people signing, could be one person sending a simple payment, could be people coming together in a lending circle to send money. And every transaction requires some of these units to spend. For example, for one Ghana cedi, you could send about 5,000 transactions. You see, which is practically zero, even more. So if you came and created your asset today with a tool we call a Bantu tokenizer, you can create a GHOne token today and start giving your customers as loyalty points. And they use that now for benefits and other things. Or it could be subsidies for women who are impoverished, or not anything, for example.
Right.
So you can use that to send and receive, and the payments are instant, 2 to 4 seconds. So you create the asset on the blockchain, you have the wallet, the Bantu Pay, and you send and receive anywhere in the world. You use your QR code, and the final thing we did, which is very critical for anyone who understands this space, the way you send and receive is very complicated. You have some long, complex addresses. You can send on Bantu to John, to Victor, to Jeremy. So things that you can remember.
Yeah.
So it's very user-friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the final thing would be, how do people get onto Bantu? How do people get onto Bantu? I know that I'm interested in getting onto it and using it. So how would I do that?
Okay, so getting onto Bantu is in two folds, right? So getting onto using the Bantu Pay, which again, Bantu Pay was created that makes us totally different from 99% of every single blockchain in the world. Every single blockchain usually calls the geeks, the developers, people that are very techy to start off. But because we were in Africa, we thought that it would only make sense to actually start, first of all, getting the everyday people. And Bantu Pay was born. Okay, so for individuals, you can just go to www.bantupay.org.
Okay.
You download, whether you're using the Android, you go to the Play Store. If you are using Apple, you go to the App Store. You get it downloaded. As simple as ABC.
Right.
Create your account and then you're on Bantu Pay.
Just
basically.
as simple as that.
As simple as that. And
very
then
well.
it's
Bantu
pure,
Pay.
so that's for Bantu Pay.
I'm excited about that. So Apple App Store, Google Play Store, www.bantupay.org.
Yes.
And then we're good to go.
You're good to go.
That's great stuff. Gentlemen, I'm grateful that you joined us in the studio to tell us about this. I'm excited about it. I think I'm going to sign up immediately after the show ends. This is something which is done in Africa, good for Africa, and it's Africa to the world. Thank you very much once again, gentlemen, for joining us here in the studio. It's been great having you, and we wish you all the very best and continue with the good work that you're doing, Mr. Victor Akoma-Philips, COO of Bantu, and also Mr. Ernest Mbenkum, who is the CEO. On that note, we're wrapping up GH Today here on GHOne Television. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be here again tomorrow to bring you another edition of the show. My name is Lantam Papanko. Do stay tuned. There's still more to come up here on GH1 TV. We'll be right back.
The African Development